Hello, everyone, and welcome to Passion in Progress. My name is Justine, and I am joined by Allistar Banks, who is an author, and she is going to talk to us about the 7 behaviors of self-sabotage. And I'm very excited for this because self-sabotage is a real deal. It's not fun. So, Allistar, if you would go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll just get talking about the stuff.
Okay, so my name is Allistar. I am a multi-generational author, motivational speaker, and blogger. So today I'm going to talk about my online course that I now have called How to Tackle the 7 Behaviors of Self-Sabotage. And this course was inspired off of my novel Girl Rise, which I have on me right now.
And it's good. I have that one.
Yeah. And so the 7 behaviors are shame, uncontrolled thoughts, compulsions, fear, hopelessness, bitterness, and insecurity. So I'm just going to go into the definitions of what these behaviors are. So shame is feeling ashamed of yourself for doing something wrong. And I feel like we've all been there a time or two where we felt ashamed of, doing something that we just felt wrong for doing, and we wish we could have done better. But at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, and you can't allow shame to control your life, whether that be in friendship, family, love relationships, and business. So we all kind of
Yeah. Is when someone how would someone identify when they're feeling shame?
I think sometimes you identify feeling shamed, like um maybe tripping over yourself. Things, I guess, far as love goes, like I guess lies, cheating, infidelity, um, third parties, situations. When I'm trying to think in
Yeah,
business, would just feel like betraying somebody's trust and also betraying somebody's trust when it comes to friendship too. Um,
right. And that's heavy to carry.
and that's
Shame isn't Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
shame
off.
is definitely a heavy thing to carry too.
It is. Yeah, I it's something I feel like most people probably have to deal with at some point on a daily basis. And it makes sense how that would tie into self-sabotage because we're not very nice to ourselves.
Yeah. And it's, especially, also shame goes along with body image and weight and how we all put pressure on ourselves to, look a certain way, or, like if we were to look back on pictures of ourselves, like in our teen years or our college years or early 20s, and we think, man, I wish I can look like that all over again. Especially for women, after like women have children and all, it's especially hard because like we're trying to get our bodies back into this pre-baby shape and to look good and feel good for our husbands and all,
Yeah.
and to have a healthy, lifestyle for our children too, so we can live long, so we can set that example for our children to have a healthy body, mind, and soul.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. I love that. And then now I know you're probably not going to want to dig into all 7 of these behaviors because that's what your course is for. So just feel free to like share whatever pointers or tips. I mean, do you think shame is like the biggest, or what,
Ooh.
like even 3, 2 or 3 if you want.
Oh, I would say probably the three to me would probably be bitterness. I would say shame and probably insecurity.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Um, I I love your books because I just can relate to them like uh on a level of we phew, phew, we sit here and we're trying to be the best version of ourselves, especially showing up online. I feel like I personally really struggle with imposter syndrome. Like,
Mhm.
who am I to be talking about this topic? Or am I expert enough? Or am I successful enough? Or maybe a mistake was made in the past. So I don't want to assume, but I'm assuming that you yourself have done a lot of work on self-sabotage. Would you kind of mind going into how you identified, like, oh, there's something here that I need to uncover?
Yeah, I would say definitely there were a lot of things in my 20s I definitely, had to uncover, which was, all of them really. I think shame, I think bitterness, insecurity were my biggest ones because I was bitter for a very long time when it came to my first love and how I think how we saw each other, how the relationship kind of unfolded itself. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to look a certain way for him. And I think he had other body insecurities, that he was struggling with at that time. And I feel like, it's like I can't help someone change their behavior. They got to change their behavior on their own. I try so hard trying to fix that part of him, and then
Right.
I kind of when, especially when you get into the television kind of industry, and I think that's what kind of took that that was sort of like the climax for me when it came to how I felt about my body and my weight. And I think I dropped down a lot of weight because when I saw myself on TV and all that, when I took some college classes, when I was involved with other things, I'm like, man, do I really look this bad on TV? So it was like, okay, let's go and lose 10 pounds. And I felt much better. And then it's like, it's still in my heart and my soul, I felt like it still just wasn't enough. I still didn't feel pretty enough. I still didn't feel good enough. And so I kind of lost a couple more pounds. So,
Yeah. It's kind of like this vicious circle.
it was a vicious circle for me.
Yeah. Yeah. When do you reach that point of, okay, I'm good now. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm where I want to be. Absolutely. And do you think that thank you for sharing that too, by the way. That's um very powerful, and I know the audience is going to relate to that. I think a lot of women look at society and what's on television and paint this picture of, in order to be successful or, attractive, I have to look a certain way. And my hope is that society will become better in that realm, is with awareness and such. But what do you think that self-sabotage, let's say the body example, you're shaming yourself for your body. How else can that play out in other parts of your life without even knowing? Or does it? I guess I should ask.
Oh, I could say it probably plays out other parts of my life when it comes to, friendships or business relationships or even love, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. Um, Being in that negative space can really drag a person down to not feeling good at any part of their life, and it's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
Um, so, what inspired you to want to spread this wonderful knowledge across the masses?
So I think what inspired me to spread this knowledge across the masses is I don't want to see people struggling and just living their lives, being in this dark space. And I think I had some images that kind of portrayed what each of the behaviors were, like covering your face or just seeing all black or just everything looking kind of like all blurry around you, like a crowd of people. And so those are kind of the things I experienced in my own life. And I don't want to see others go down that road, It's
Right. Yeah. No, keep that. It's yeah. That's it's our life's experiences that we feel like, as hard as it is to talk about it and to uproot those hard feelings and
yeah,
painful. They're painful feelings.
yeah.
Ugh.
I like, and I know, like, you've read The Pursuit of Love and Hope, and I kind of express some, fear and isolation and identity crisis.
Yeah.
Seeing trust in that nonfiction poetry book of mine too.
Yes. I
I had
read.
a lot, I had a lot of fun, coming up with the poetry and
Yeah. Yeah.
collab. minor on that. That was fun.
Yes. And I'm going to show Allistar's website at the end here, but I think I have like 3 or 4 of your books now. I read your poetry one in like an hour, which I couldn't put it down. It was so good. And so I will put those up on the screen. So if you want to go check out Allistar's stuff, she also does children's books. Sorry, I don't mean to side rail here. I just noticed your shirt and I love it. I'm going to hide myself so I can make it bigger. Hold on 1 second. Could you hear me still? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. That is so, I love that. I
Thank
love that. Um, but on self-sabotage, I think a lot of people don't even realize that they're doing it
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, it's so what else about self-sabotage do you want to share with everyone?
So the online course is Christian based. So some of the 7 points, and that's what I kind of say are: remind yourself daily what Jesus did for you. Ask the Holy Spirit to give you better thoughts. Realize you have a new ability to say no. And it's so hard for us to say no because we want to say yes to everything. But if you don't say no, then you're not setting appropriate boundaries for yourself. And
Right.
then it's just like when you say yes, I think it breaks apart of your self esteem and your confidence if you keep doing that, if you keep
Mhm.
saying yes. Focus on the long term instead of the short term when it comes to tackling, self sabotage and behavior. Because if you try to tackle these behaviors in a short period of time, then you're just going to relapse. And it just takes small steps to tackle these behaviors. So in the online course, that's 47 lessons, and I kind of go and identify what each behavior is, what are the causes and effects of them, and how to overcome them, and how do they arise.
That's great. Is it a live course or is it pre-recorded modules or how is the course set up?
So it's set up in PowerPoint slides, and I have
Okay.
quizzes at the end
That's
that people,
great.
yeah. So, and number 6, remind yourself that God is good and He is in control, and just trust that God will never stop loving you.
Yeah. Do you find that people have a like I'm going to backtrack for a minute. When I was first identifying the self-sabotage, um, isolation, seclusion, avoidance was huge for me. I like went missing for months on social media. I just kind of went into my little hole of safety and um it was really really hard to come out of that. Um but how do you help guide people through that? I guess like having the faith to believe that you're not alone or that you have what it takes to get through the hard times. You have what it takes to become a better version of yourself. I really liked when you said focus on the short term goal instead of the
Focus,
long term.
focus on the long term instead
The
of the short.
long term instead of the short term. I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
No, that's okay.
Could you go into that a little more?
I think focusing on the long term is focusing on you healing from that behavior in the long run, instead of the short term, like in 3 to 6 months. Let's say a year to 5 years, to
Yeah.
allow to give yourself that time to understand that behavior and to correct that behavior.
Yeah. It's like a lifelong thing that we have to.
Yeah, it's a lifelong thing that we have to tackle and understand the root cause of it. And a lot of it's from our childhood and how we were brought up, and the people we
Absolutely.
surround ourselves, with. And it's like when we're growing up, we want to people please, everybody. And when we get into adulthood, we still people please because that's how we were raised, that's how we were brought up. And I guess I realized at a point where I start, I was still that people pleaser, that it was, I was sabotaging my long life, my personal and professional life. And that's when I went, okay, I got to stop people pleasing, because I'm just draining my own energy when I need to fill my own cup. If you don't fill your own cup, then how are you going to fill somebody else's cup?
Exactly. Yeah, and I want to go into that a little bit more too, because so many times people believe that by saying no, they're going to upset someone.
Mm.
Someone's not going to be able to depend on them. Let's say, like, watching the neighbor kids. I'm just saying that because I see my neighbor kids' playground out front here. But say I was going to babysit the kids, and then like, something came up for myself, or I wasn't feeling good. Um, that guilt that comes into play when you have to say no or letting someone down is it's terrible. So how would you tell someone who's just starting to identify that? Where do you start by stopping people pleasing?
Oh, where do I start?
Maybe it's not maybe no one, maybe you don't know, and I don't really know either.
I guess in a sense, it's, where is your energy at? How do you feel when you start? How do you feel if you were to say yes to me? If I were to ask you a question, to go do something for me, or to do this, or, if you were to say yes to that, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel good, or does that make you feel bad? If it makes you feel bad, then that's when you need to learn. That's when you need to learn to say no. That you,
Yeah. I love that. That's so true because I there's so many times when I've gotten better, but feeling like letting someone down is my biggest fear. It
yeah.
it drives me. I never want to disappoint people. I never want to, not fulfill someone's expectations. But
Mm.
in reality, that's not even possible.
Yeah.
To put your actions into someone else's like expectations. But saying no is when I say yes to something that I really don't want to do, it's like the anxiety leading up to doing
Yeah.
it drags me down so much more than if I would
Yeah.
have just said, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
And it like snowballs. I feel like that's why I love this topic. I'm so happy that you're doing this because I think once people can start loving themselves first and
Yeah.
realizing, I am worth saying no. I'm worthy of having boundaries and doing things that bring me joy instead of worrying what everyone's going to think.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So, how long have you been working had awareness of self sabotage?
Oh, I would probably say over the last 7 years of my life.
Yeah. Um, Anything like real recent that you wouldn't mind sharing, like kind of how you worked through it or identified that you were doing one of those behaviors that you're going to cover in your course?
Oh, I probably would say insecurity. I think feeling insecure about, money, or how much money I make, or where my finances are at. So,
Yeah.
trying to compare my finances to somebody else.
Right. And
Really,
what does that do with you being a creative author? I would say, you're a creative entrepreneur, aka author. But what does that do to your creativity when
um,
you're like that?
I think, mm, it probably it stagnates my creativity, until I have to journal out my thoughts for a minute. I have to regain my sense of focus, and to go and understand why I'm doing this. Why
Yeah.
am I an author? Why am I a motivational speaker? Why do I have a blog? You know?
Yes, I forgot that you have a blog too. Gosh,
Yeah.
you're so talented. It's such a blessing to know you and um I'm so excited to see that you're doing courses.
Yeah.
Is this your first course
Yeah.
or
This is my
that
first
you
course.
okay. And is it like a group setting or is it an individual study?
It's
I didn't ask.
individual.
Okay. All right. So if someone were to enroll in the course, are you there as support that they can reach
Yeah.
out to or ask questions to? Okay. Very cool. That's so important. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes, because we can't do everything on our own. You know?
No. And that work is tough. That work is heavy, and it's very easy, especially for someone who's feeling that shame and guilt already,
Yeah.
to go into that, "Oh, I don't wanna I'm not, like, accelerating this pain. Why would I wanna do that work?" And then it's easy to push it off. So I think having accountability and a support system as
Mhm.
people go through that work will be huge.
Yeah. And so I have a Facebook group too. So it's called on Be Positive. And I did that for my gratitude journals to raise the awareness of them and how that can help people, when they're feeling like or when they're feeling just down, they can just focus on just that one little thing out of their day that they're grateful for. And I have a satisfied scale in the book too. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel that day? And then I have an affirmation at the bottom of the page, and I have coloring pages too to help you
Oh,
relax and de-stress from the day. So that was kind of fun. That was really fun coming up with the
yeah.
designs for that. And I have like I've one of the pages has a positive message on them. So and it says I am powerful. So that kind of gives you that little daily reminder. And also just a pretty page and pretty colors that makes it
Yes.
more joyful and happy to
Yeah.
look at.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Um, I have one more question for you. I hope I'm not throwing too many questions at you,
No,
Allister. I'm sorry. Excuse me. What would you how would you differentiate shame and bitterness from someone? Or
uh,
how would someone distinguish those 2?
mm, I think bitterness comes from more of a place of anger versus shame to me. Because I guess shame and bitterness are kind of similar to each other, but shame is just feeling like, oh, what did I do this for? Now it's like I feel so embarrassed. And bitterness, for me was where I was just very angry and upset for how someone made me feel about myself. And as a child, being bullied in school, I was bitter over a person, then too. Just why do you want to bully and treat somebody like that? We
Yeah.
all are unique with our personalities, our individuality, you know, and we should all embrace our personalities, our individual uniqueness. Because if we were all the same, then this world would just be, dull. There would just be no light.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. It's why would we want to all be the same? I think even when I'm caught in a moment of ignorance,
Yeah.
like having a conversation with someone and I share my opinion and then someone shares their perspective and it's, the kick in the face with the boot kind of feeling that you have, we automatically want to like withdraw and be or get defensive. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't mean that, or you're taking it wrong, or you're too sensitive. I think having the composure and self-awareness to kind of draw back, say this isn't that person's fault, that they have the perspective and experience that they have. Um, I think allowing yourself to open up to new perspectives of being different and having different experiences
Yeah.
is just it just plays out in so many beautiful ways in life. I just I'm
You know,
glad I got over that.
and growing up as a child, I was, the quiet, shy, reserved person of the class. And, the bully was sort of more the outgoing person, was popular, just fit in with everybody, was just part of her, kind of girl gang group. And I wasn't that. I guess I was just, person that just kind of fell in the middle. And I love to just kind of like read books, just stay to myself and have that, I did have my close group of friends that I hung out with, but I wasn't the popular girl in school by no means, you know. And
Yeah.
I really didn't strive to be popular, but
That's that's just it.
most
Yeah.
students probably thought I was a teacher's pet because I have family that's into education industry too. So it was like, oh, I'm not really a teacher's pet. I just strive to do well in school because I want to do good for myself. I want to do good for my future.
Right. I think that probably intimidated some people that didn't have that same perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we, you know, why would you want to focus inward on yourself and change your behavior when you can just make someone else feel bad about their behavior because it's not like yours? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is beautiful, and I just adore you as a person. And I'm going to pull up your website here and share with you all Allistar's website. So I will link it in the description, of course, but go to her website. I was looking at your pictures before we started, and the impact and how many different, like here you're reading, you're reading to a class virtually, your message is so powerful, and you're making a difference in these little kiddos' lives. I love it. Oh, is that Lenny the lizard?
Yeah. And the kids did like, coloring pages of Lenny. That was really cute.
Oh. Oh, do you save this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good. Oh my gosh. But yes, check out her website. Um, there was something on here that I hadn't seen before. The Kids Gratitude Journal. Is that a
Yeah.
new one?
Yeah, it's fairly new because I think I published it when I wrote the teen journal and the adult journal.
Okay. So yes, go over and check this out. You will love Georgia's here. She loves Lenny the Lizard and
Oh,
the balloon ride. We read that one, don't we? And then I got it for my twin niece and nephew too, and they love it. They love the colors. But head over to Allistar's page and check out her stuff. Um, and the course, if you are one who suffers with self-sabotage and you want someone, I am saying with 100% certainty you would love being in Allistar's presence. You are just such a genuine and thoughtful person. So thank you for doing this and sharing your gifts. And um, yeah, I'm so happy for you.
yeah. Thank you.
And with that, we will call it a night. Allistar, I'm sure I'll have you back again.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, reach out to Allistar. If you aren't able to find her, please reach out to me so I can get you connected with her.
Yep. And
And
find the online course if you go to the courses tab on my website.
oh, let's share that real quick. Sorry. I
No,
should have
that's fine.
should have let you drive this, Allistar.
That's okay.
Okay, so up here we have courses.
Yep.
Love it. Now my computer's thinking. Oh, right here, how to tackle the 7 behaviors of self-sabotage. You can find it right there. And it's going to change the world, my friend. You're going to change the world.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. And thank you for spending this time with me. And I hope you have a fabulous weekend and that it's nice where you're at and you have some sunshine.
Yes. The same.
Thanks, Allistar. And we will see you all next week on Passion and Progress.
All
Bye bye.
righty.